in a game like Dead Space, these kind of horror, sci-fi type games, um, feedback is really important because you're basically watching a horror movie, right? Interactive horror movie. In this case, you're in a derelict spacecraft and there's creatures all over the place. And how do you know they're there? Well, you can hear the growling. We talked about occlusion before, remember, in lecture 3, where you have absorption. So some creatures growling behind a wall, and perhaps the sound's a bit muffled. So you know it's on another side of a wall or plane or something like that. But then also you can have stereo to get a location. Is it on my left? Is it on my right? And some volume. Is it far away? Is it close up? Right. And all of those kind of elements can give the player any feedback that they need, and it's really going to help with the immersion. It's going to increase the depth of gameplay. So let's just listen a bit to this and listen to the location of the creature. Okay, so you get a little bit of warning, and it's the same for, like, if you're playing Doom or something, you hear the growl of the creature or the roar, and you're about to get into some firefighting here. But that feedback is really, really helpful and get you set up for the battle that's about to ensue. One game that came out not too long ago that also had some nice sounds for clues to surroundings was Amnesia: The Dark Descent. I'm always running out of oil or tinder boxes and things like that. And if you've ever played the game, you know what I mean. It's like you're in a castle. You don't know how you got there, but you're trying to get out, and you're slowly learning about how you actually got there. It's like this castle in Vienna back in the 19th century or something like that. Anyway, on your way out, there's all these creatures trying to stop you, and there's not much you can do. You're losing your sanity, right? So it's like not a very player-centric game. It's kind of out to get you in a way. Anyway, let's take a listen to Amnesia: The Dark Descent. Let me go back and try it again. So you don't see anything, but you hear it. Okay, so there's some really nice ambience there. Yeah, there's some music with a little bit of like a horror, dark percussion, kind of semi-orchestral, semi-synth texture element going on there. But aside from that, you're hearing yourself breathing, heart beating, and that keeps increasing it as you kind of get into these dramatic situations, and also when you're losing sanity points. And seeing the creature is pretty good because you hear it, but then you may not see it for quite a while, and then you open the door and then you see it walk by. Some people are great at this game. I spent most of my time in various closets in the mansion just trying to get out, but it's a really, really fun game to play, and the sound is great, especially if it's like midnight, all the lights are out, and you're just playing this game with a nice set of headphones. Sometimes we just want to blow things up, right? Michael Bay style. Sometimes you want that kind of visceral experience where it hits you right in the gut. The sounds just feel really, exciting. And sometimes it's all you need to make a game more fun, especially if you're trying to defeat mutant zombie appliances and household tools and garden tools and things like that. In a game that was kind of modeled after Zombieland, Woody Harrelson's Zombieland, there's kind of this apocalyptic hillbilly world where all these machines have become sentient and they're trying to take over the world, like toasters with chainsaw blades sticking out of them and giant smelters that launch flaming oil at you and things like that. Just crazy stuff. This is a game I worked on where I just had fun recording all sorts of mechanical devices and dropping nuts and bolts all over the floor and recording them, and trying to find ways to make everything sound fun. And I relied a lot on a lot of the off-the-shelf library sounds for big explosions and rocket propellant and things like that. So let's just take a listen. And there's just hundreds of sounds, and it mixed and matched in all kinds of various ways that are fun to listen to, especially if you're playing multiplayer. That was a really interesting experience with Demiurge. Okay, tactile and interface feedback. I love games that have these really tactile sounds that feel like you're actually using the object, and you could almost reach out and touch it and you feel like you're there in a way. Even in an abstract game like Zuma, which is another classic, here you're kind of throwing these. It's a match 3 game. You're kind of throwing these ceramic kind of bocce balls at targets, and you can hear the sounds of the ceramic balls like clinking together, and that the sound designers singular took a lot of time. Probably had like 1,000 takes of these ceramic balls clanking together and hit impacting the target. So let's just listen to it. Once we get past the menu here. And then it starts all over again. So there are many ways you could get multiple versions of those sounds. Like you can hear the different levels of pitch when the balls hit together, or when you're launching one at a series, and those could be either variations on the same recordings, and or they could be sounds played back at slightly random pitches, slightly random volumes, and in conjunction with the multiple variations of sound, you get a lot of interesting permutations, and it really makes for a nice tactile experience. Also, in a game that's even more abstract than Zuma, which is the World of Goo, and I think you'll understand why I chose this one for tactile and interface feedback. Let's just take a listen. right? So that's some really well done sound design, and that is all custom stuff. Everything from the interface sounds to the sound of the oil, the goo, being sucked out of the canister there, and when they're building the kind of the bridge to the target, all really really well crafted sound design. Yes, I'm using the WeMe creator, so it is part of the tactile experience. Okay, ignore the music for a moment. So the button sounds, I mean, we laugh at it now, right? But the button sounds are very unassuming. You just take it for granted. They don't get in the way what you're working on. And it does work well with the music, right? Nintendo has a really solid brand identity overall. And the music and sound tend to be on the lighter side of most of their original titles, but they always work in conjunction with one another. And the sounds often do have a musical quality to them that just enhances the soundtrack even more. All right. You may have something like this, where one of the games I worked on recently, it's still going, Marvel Puzzle Quest, where you have kind of these tiles. You can call them gems if you want, and you're breaking these in order to do match 3. So let's take a listen to these. This is a very short clip. All right, super short clip. I should get a longer one in there, but I have more. If you go to my site, keithziza.net, you can go to the Marvel page, and I have a much longer clip there. I should put a long one in here. But anyway, that's a combination like Scrabble tiles and Mahjong tiles and little glass beads and some glass breaking, and it's all these layers that are put in to make like the right feel for those. And it took quite a while to get the right feel that the team felt was the one, and then we did a lot of variations on those sounds, stacked and layered with pitch and volume and all this. Okay. Okay, establishing brand identity. As I said, Nintendo has really cornered the market on this, but you want to have a set of memorable sounds that help define your game, and there's so many I could choose from. I just randomly chose Donkey Kong Country Returns. Let's take a listen. So you've got everything from the protagonist sound effects to the pickup sounds and to the explosions and everything you have there, all working together. It's kind of one kind of sound experience, I guess you could call it, and it really helps to establish the brand identity, especially the musical sound effects. I think they've always done a fantastic job with those, and still do with their titles today.